Well, after sharing my blunt thoughts, let's get into other topical matters. And there's a surge in rabies cases in the Ashanti region, and health authorities there are worried about it. The region has recorded at least 12 fatal cases. Well, we're going to be having an interaction with Dr. Mabel Awudu, Ashanti Regional Veterinary Officer, on how they are working to curb this. Dr. Awudu, a very good morning to you. Please unmute for us, Dr. Awudu, if you can hear me. Please unmute, Dr. Awudu, if you can hear me, so we can have a conversation.
Good morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning. It's a pleasure having you. I hope you're well this morning.
Yes, and I hope you are too.
We're in there. God has given us life, so what can we say? But let's talk about this situation in the Ashanti region, especially where we are seeing this uptick in cases. For how long have you noticed this surge in rabies numbers?
First of all, let me say that my name is Mabel Abudu.
Abudu.
Not Awudu. Abudu.
Right. My sincere apologies for that.
It's okay. The data I gave to your colleague yesterday spanned from 2018 to date. From 2018 today, we had 74 reported cases. Some also coming from the other regions, Bono, Ahafo. But the majority of the cases were from Ashanti region. And so out of the 74, 38 cases were positive. So those 38 cases, victims were 47. So it means that with the 38 positive dog cases, they might have bitten, or they bit 47 people. So definitely some might have died, but it will not end up at our place. For us in veterinary services, we always carry out vaccinations as our daily routine work. But it is important that we institute mass vaccination nationwide. It was a program that was being done when I joined the service. So there was mass vaccination year after year, but along the line, I believe that due to funding, it wasn't really actually happening. But if you go to our clinics, our veterinary hospitals, both private and government, vaccinations are being done. And then also our staff move from house to house upon request to do vaccinations. But if we want to achieve our aim, the goal that we have set for ourselves, which is by 2030, the country should be free from rabies, then it is incumbent that we carry out this mass vaccination.
So you speak, Dr. Abudu, of the fact that there were 74 cases, 38 of them were positive, and the victims were 47. Do we know, as of now, what the state of these 47 people are? Or the state is, actually?
The data I gave you span from 2018 to date.
Right.
And so I believe, I don't think all of them might have died, because anytime cases are reported to us, we ask them to also seek medical attention. So I believe most of them might have visited the hospital and then given appropriate treatment. But this is just for you to know that something should be done. Because assuming if nothing is done, all these people will go. This is just the reported cases we have received. There are certain times that dog bites people and they just chase it and kill and consume. So we can't even talk about those ones. This is just official one that got to us. So this figure tells us that something meaningful must be done. But in August, we had a meeting. There's a national bridging workshop on rabies. And the aim is to eliminate rabies from Ghana by the year 2030. I think the work started from 2018, but now it is at the implementation stage. It's a 5-year program. So I believe that, I don't know actually when it will start, maybe by the end of this year or beginning of next year, we are going to have a massive nationwide rabies campaign for a period of 5 years. So I believe with that, we'll be able to achieve our goal.
I just want you to clarify for all of us. I know rabies has its own gestational period and all of that, but maybe to break it down for us, what exactly is rabies? Some people may not be aware of it. Recently, I know of a boy who got scratched, bitten a bit by a Rottweiler. Thankfully, this dog had been vaccinated against rabies, and of course, it's for a year-long period. But what exactly is rabies, and what's the gestational period? How does it manifest in a human being or even in a dog?
Rabies is a viral disease. It is a viral disease, and one can only get it from an infected dog and through bite from an infected dog. That is the main route in which one can get. But yesterday, I was even saying that sometimes the way we handle the dog can also, somebody can also acquire rabies from it. Assuming you have a rabid dog that you have saliva, because the virus is in the saliva, not in the blood. And so when you have saliva dripping out and all over the head, the saliva, and then somebody kill it and then you are picking it up. If you have abrasions on your skin, unknowingly, because the virus is very active, you may even acquire it without knowing that something like that is being, you have acquired a thing like that. But one can get it mainly through infected rabid dog, and it's a viral disease. And from the dog side, when the dog becomes hyperactive and it runs at anything, especially any moving thing, it bites at anything, and then it will get into paralysis, convulsion, coma, and then death. That is the way it manifests in dogs. The human side also, I think there's delirium, hydrophobia. Even in the dogs too, there's hydrophobia. And then it also causes death. So
Hello, Dr. Abudu. All right, I think we've lost the connection with Dr. Abudu. What I wanted to run by her, though, just looking at the gestational period and all of that, so people would know if they've contracted it and what signs to look out for. These are stark numbers we're looking at, but I wanted to run by her as well the fact that it's not just dogs that can, pass on rabies. I've read about bats and all of that. It's an interesting conversation I would like to have with her. But it's on the back of what we've seen, that uptick in the Ashanti region when it comes to rabies cases, people getting rabid, dogs getting rabid, because these are the ones that we have often around us rather than the other animals. But as we await interacting with Dr. Abudu, let's play this package on the back of the same discussion.
Infections usually occur following a deep bite or scratch from an animal with rabies. Transmission to humans by rabid dogs accounts for up to 99% of cases in Ghana. Its transmission can be stopped through vaccination. Health authorities say people infected with rabies in the Ashanti region, majority being dog owners who suffered dog bites, have all died. Asante Achim South, Bosomtwe and Kwabri East are some of the latest districts and municipalities to have recorded cases of the disease. Regional Health Director Dr. Emmanuel Kojotingran expressed concerns over the issue.
Recently, we've realized that the number of rabies cases we are getting in Ashanti region is going up. And for the last half year, we've detected close to 8 cases of rabies in the communities. And it's telling you that the dogs are not vaccinated. And this is basically a zoonosis, a disease that's transmitted from animal to man. So whenever you leave these stray animals and they become infected in the community, and unfortunately they bite somebody, then the person will get rabies.
The Ashanti Regional Health Directorate has asked health facilities to be on the alert as the directorate increases surveillance on the situation. Dr. Tinkran says there's little his outfit could do as unvaccinated stray dogs continue to roam the streets.
We need to talk to maybe the central government to see how best we can provide the vaccines so that all dogs in these communities are vaccinated, and that will help us better than the health system. Rabies is said that when you get it, the fatality is very high. The case fatality is close to about 80%. So you don't have to wait till maybe you are bitten by a dog, because other than that, it will be too late.
The veterinary services has since 2018 confirmed rabies cases from its laboratory here in Kumasi. Out of 74 samples received from Ashanti, Bono, Ahafo and the Bono East regions, 34 samples were confirmed positive rabies cases.
Well, we have Dr. Abudu back with us. Let's get the conversation moving forward. So, Doc, I'd like to find out from you, in a human being, what's the gestation period? I just need to know. How long does it take before we start seeing symptoms if someone acquires this viral disease? Dr. Abudu, you would have to unmute again.
It starts from this. It's about, for us in the dog, it's about 14, or the dog and human being 14 and 61. But for the dog, after 2 weeks,
is that days?
If it's
14 and 61 days.
In the dog, let me concentrate more on the dog, because the human being, the period, the interval is between 14 to 61 days. 14. From our side, the dog, when it's having rabies, we put it on quarantine for about 14 days. Sometimes even before 14 days, it starts showing, or a little above 14 days. In the dogs, I'm talking about, it starts showing. But in human beings, I believe sometimes it also depends on the place of bite. If you are bitten by your leg side, it takes a little while before it gets to the brain. So that is the interval.
Right. So, for example, if you were bitten on your arm, or maybe, let's say, on your neck, it means the virus would get to your brain quicker.
Very, very, yes. Very, very faster than. It is faster than you being bitten around your maybe toe, leg, that side, because the virus needs to multiply and then travel through the nerves, the peripheral nerves, before it will get to spinal cord and then onto the central nervous system. So it depends on the place of bite.
All right. Thankfully, at least we know that dogs would often reach for lower extremities of the body, like the legs. So thankfully, even if you were to get bitten. But how severe is rabies, especially if not treated? You made mention of the fact that we've had some casualties, some fatalities. How severe is it in human beings, and how quickly should people be receiving treatment when they notice any symptoms?
Okay. I always like to concentrate on my side, but of course, we are also involved in human health. So the thing is, once you are bitten by a dog, you need to report to the health center. And then after that, you come to the veterinary services. We need to monitor the dog, whilst the health officials also monitor the victim. So that is the process. So that is what I can say.
Is it possible for someone to get bitten by a rabid dog and not acquire rabies?
It is. It's not every dog bite case that is positive, because there are people who are vaccinating their dogs all the time.
I mean a dog that has rabies. Is it possible for you to be bitten by a dog that has rabies and not get it?
No. Once the dog has rabies, you by all means get it. Once it has rabies and it bites you, it's transmitting the virus through the saliva onto you. So you will get it.
Right. Let me also find out from you.
But excuse me, what I wanted to say is that we shouldn't think that, it's not like if you are bitten by a dog all the time, then it means that the dog very good care of their dogs. They are given vaccinations all the time. Dog has a role to play. They protect their environment. Also, when they whelp, when they have puppies, they also protect their puppies. So assuming you approach somebody's house and the dog doesn't know you, he will by all means bite you.
Right.
So we shouldn't, that thing is there. But if a dog has rabies, you will know. Apart from that, most of our population don't normally vaccinate the dog. That is where the issue is. So that's why we are saying that if you are bitten by a dog, a stray dog, report it. Even in someone's house, you report. The medical officers, they know what to do because they will by all means communicate that to us and also monitor the dog.
Do we have any statistics? You say most of people who own dogs don't vaccinate them. A few do, but most don't. Do you have any statistics to back what you're saying?
We don't have, but we know that because if sometimes, some years back when we did the population census, even let me concentrate on Busumchi alone. Busumchi, the rabies, the dog population there is more than 5,000, close to 6,000. And I don't think that we even have about 1,000 of them well vaccinated. In the year 2018, there was this mission rabies activity which was done at the place. They started, their aim was to give 5-year rabies program. So they started, I think, 2018 and 2019, the COVID set in, so they stopped. And the statistics that came out from that place, more than 5,000 dogs. So assuming 2008 they did it, 2019 till now, it has not been done. So you can imagine that is Bosumtwi alone. If we want to take Ashanti Region into consideration, it's a huge number of dogs. And those who can afford the vaccine, if you strike the average, I would say 5% out of those owing dogs. So most of our dogs are not vaccinated. And when you go to the hinterlands, our rural areas, that's where you even have huge populations because they use them for hunting. But they are not vaccinated.
You're saying something that is I find rather interesting. You say those who can afford the vaccine. How expensive is the anti-rabies vaccine for dogs?
Surprisingly, it's not expensive. Surprisingly. Because at the rural areas, they will even tell you that when you vaccinate and you are charging 10 cedis, people cannot afford it. 10 cedis.
So how
Meanwhile,
is that the cost? 10 cedis? Is that the cost?
At that place, yes. Because by when you come to the cities, the clinics, the price is not like that. Because you see, they are also buying syringes, iodine, cotton wool, and things like that. So in the cities, the prices are different. But in the rural areas, they cannot afford to charge, let's say, even 30 cedis. Because even with the 10 cedis, people cannot afford. So that's the issue.
So what is the highest, I mean, from where you said, what is the highest it would cost, whether in the city or in the rural area?
Well, then unless I consider the private, I think 30 cedis or so.
30 cedis.
30, 35 per a shot. Because they give you booklets to do the recording, and that's it. And so if somebody is also coming to your home, of course, they will have to factor in the transportation costs. So you will not have it at 10 cedis or maybe 10 to 40. I'm not at the clinic, so I will not be able to give you the exact figure. I've left the place for a very long time, yes, but they put a lot of factors into it. But at the rural areas, they don't even charge that. That is why I said the 10 cedis, people cannot even afford to pay for the 10 cedis.
Tell me, I know that it's not just dogs, and I'm just stretching the conversation because it's dogs that we have commonly around us, but there are other vectors, so to speak, other animals that can carry rabies, including bats, for example. I bring up bats because we know that, I mean, from Lassa fever to other things, they happen to be vectors. And here, some people also consume bats. How dangerous is that?
It is, but bats have it. I don't know the ones they buy, whether the animals are not sick. I may not be able to tell. But as I said, if even a dead animal, you are not supposed to consume. So if you are a type that eats bats and you go and you realize that a dead bat is lying and then you take it, then there's a likelihood that you can acquire. So that is what I can say. But I know that they are also reservoirs of rabies.
Okay, Dr. Abudu, just my final question to you. You made mention of the fact that there was some sort of national plan. Was it by 2020, you said, to eradicate?
2030.
2030. Right.
To eradicate rabies from Ghana.
Right.
And it's not just one organization. It's a tripartite organization, WHO, World, which stands for World Organization for Animal Health, and then the Environment, Ministry of Science and Environment. We are all part, because sometimes the handling of the animal, they have to come in. And so this is an effort Ghana is making to eradicate the disease by 2030.
Okay, so I just want to know, what is the plan? I mean, in the interim, between now and then, are there phases? Are there things we're going to be doing? What are we going to be doing? Can you share a few thoughts with us? And that'll be the end to the conversation.
This month, the month of September, we decided we're going to use it to create awareness. Though awareness has been ongoing, but we want to intensify it more. But it will take off. I actually don't know when, but it's something that we have all agreed to do with determination and commitment. So maybe by this September, by the end of the year, maybe the necessary plans will be put in place. And I'm very sure that beginning next year, it will take off.
Dr. Abudu, we are so grateful that you've taken the time to enlighten us on the affair of rabies. We're grateful for your time, madam.
Thank you, too. Bye.
Right. Dr. Mabel Abudu is Ashanti Regional Veterinary Officer who's been sharing with us her thoughts on rabies, what we can do. If you get bitten, especially by a stray dog, don't take it for granted. Go and get maybe even a tetanus shot together with your anti-rabies shot. But we explore more matters this morning on the show. As you're aware, inflation for August is 33.9%. But what does this mean to the average market woman or trader at specifically the Agbubulushi market? Mapito Sibidi, my colleague, has been speaking to some of them, and this is what they had to share.